Hello and welcome, my name is Interjection and this is another game of Age of Empires 3 for PK Clan tournament number 4. So, round B has ended and I'm really sorry guys because I was really hoping to bring lots of coverage for this tournament and cast lots of games and I really just have not delivered. Of course, round B, so many best of threes in that and I've only posted one best of three. That was just 2 games since the same person won both of the games, and sorry if I've just ruined those videos for you, but I think it's really disgraceful and I really think I need to up my game in the commentary department, so hopefully I'll be able to get up earlier in the morning and not waste it being asleep. If you're interested in why I haven't made as many commentaries as I would have liked to, then have a look at the video that I'm linking to you in the description. I was talking about that and also replying to some comments on some of my previous videos. But anyway, this is a commentary, not my life story. So in the south of the map here, we have KönigErik playing as the French in green. Here, putting up an early market and going to grab himself that hunting dogs upgrade nice and early for a 10% bonus to his hunting. Very good for his economy. A very standard way to play France. We'll switch over to the other side. Of course, the north of the map here, we have snsjack playing as China as the color orange. Now, snsjack is a player from the Japanese community. Of course, in Age of Empires 3, you have the Japanese community, which are, let's put to one side. And then on the other side, we have the rest of the world. And I'm not going to go too much into this, but it's certainly nice to see this tournament bringing both communities together. Anyway, we see here the Chinese player putting down one village, costs 200 wood there, and collected a little bit of extra wood from the trees to put down a second village. Now, a village is essentially a house, since of course China cannot build houses and instead have a village which performs the same function. It also functions as a livestock pen. Trying to start the game with a goat, so of course he's tasked that goat to the village since it will now fatten at more quickly of a rate. But yes, he collected some extra wood to put down a second village, and because of that, you might think, why does he need 50 population just 2 minutes into the game? And, well, China don't actually receive settlers from their home city as a shipment like other civilizations do, but instead have this card here, Northern Refugees, which instead grants you 1 settler for each village that you have and also for each town center that you have. So, of course, 1 village here, 2nd village here, and his town center, that's 3 settlers. So it kind of performs the same function as a settler shipment, but is not actually settlers. Of course, you could wait and send it later on in the game when you have more villages, but you need, well, obviously having the settlers earlier certainly provides more of an economy sooner rather than later, so to speak, and that's of course why he sent it. There is a similar card in the Industrial Age here, so he could send that later on if the game really did go down that for that long. But we'll turn Fog of War off, and this is a matchup that I'm going to find quite interesting. And I'll be honest with you here, guys, I'm not particularly knowledgeable about China as a civilization. I mean, France I can do, since, of course, I am a vanilla Age of Empires 3 player, and I came from vanilla, and I came over to TAD, the Asian Dynasties, because this tournament was going on. And to be fair, I've really enjoyed it here. These new civilizations, they're not new. The Asian Dynasty's been out a while. I mean, I've always known what they're about and what units they have, and you know, I've known how they work and things. I can play, say, European civilizations and therefore talk about them quite well, but China is a bit more of a grey area and I'm less confident, so I'm worried that some of my comments might not be as insightful, but certainly trying my best, and I think it's going to do my channel wonders once I finally do become very confident with these civilizations. But yes, China, this matchup, China I don't think will be very aggressive. Of course, you know, they do build that village in, you know, the 2nd village at least, in Age 1, and that does slow them down to the next age since they are collecting a bit of extra wood. You see here, he's only just really clicked up and put 4 settlers to build that. That's a lot of settlers, losing a lot of gather time on them, whereas we compare it to, say, KönigErik, almost, you know, not losing any settler time since he's researching it. That's just how European civilizations work, but clicked up a lot sooner, and it, you know, that's just China really. But yeah, not going to be expecting China to be aggressive in Age 1. I mean, their unit composition is mostly, you know, Chocanu pikemen, so crossbow pike. Not that there's anything wrong with the crossbow pike rush, it's just that China is not a very aggressive civilization early on. They have, you know, a fairly alright economy, and they usually push in a little bit later on, late colonial push, and that's quite nice for them. Whereas, you know, France is quite similar really. Here, clicking up with 400 wood. You see he's got 126 wood, which he has collected. I imagine he got the placer mines upgrade. I didn't quite see, but, you know, with that 126 wood there, you know, you get the steel traps upgrade, where it is going around now, which, of course, costs 125 wood. Getting that straight away the moment he ages, and, of course, aging with 400 wood. And with that wood, I imagine he'll put down both a barracks and a stable, of course. By the looks of it, sending 700 wood as his first card. He's going to play a very economic French build, you know, getting steel traps, 700 wood first, with which you can build some houses, since of course, you know, the stable is 200 wood, the barracks is 200 wood. That's all of your age up wood gone. Without any houses, how are you going to train any units? Of course, you do need population. That wood will provide the population. It would also allow you to get perhaps a trading post site if you really wanted one, and also, of course, those coin mine upgrades are quite wood intensive. They are rather expensive, and that wood can also help you out there. But, you know, you could also add in a second barracks with that wood, and, of course, you know, be able to max. I was trying to say mass musketeers, but that came out terribly wrong. But here, you know, put the stable up first to get that cavalry in production. You know, cavalry do take a bit longer to train than your old than your old musketeer. So, you know, then getting the barracks up second and training some musks, training one of each. And of course, with both buildings there, he's got a variety of options open to him, and he can adapt rather easily. We'll see what his next shipment is, but it's most likely going to be 4 Carreras, since of course that will help his economy out. We'll switch over though to snsjack, and okay, so he looks like 9 Quang pikemen was his first shipment. I can confirm that. There it is. I said that China isn't usually aggressive, and I guess I'm wrong, sending a military shipment as his very first one here. And also, he aged up with the Summer Palace, which I guess you could say is aggressive, since it is a building that trains military units for free. We see the standard army going up here, which is 3 Chocanu and 2 Steppe Riders. A little bit of conflict here. Of course, musketeers do quite well against, you know, Quang pikemen, so he doesn't really want to engage, since of course pikemen absolutely. Okay, so here those cavalry coming forward to try and get some damage off on those Chocanu. Of course, Chocanu are weak to cavalry, and then the pikemen coming forward, since of course, as I was saying, pikemen really bad against everything, only 7 damage, except they do have a ×5 multiplier versus cavalry, therefore they came forward to attack the cavalry. But you know, the French player not stupid here. KönigErik pulling the cavalry back, and it now looks like they're going to go off and try and get some raiding done. But yes, it looks like he was doing a little bit of early aggression, and I think, you know, he was training some old Han army at the War Academy. You know, what's that? 3 Chocanu and also 3 Quang pikemen. So kind of like an Expo pike strat here. Looks like that settler's going to go down. We've struck gold here with KönigErik. But China's second shipment here, 700 coin. So actually, it looks like he's doing some sort of a really aggressive semi-fast fortress, you know, getting the military out early, and, you know, perhaps coming over here hoping to do some damage, but not actually doing so, as we saw the musketeers kind of doing, you know, getting a few shots off on the pikemen and not really too much success there. You know, perhaps he wants the military to kind of protect his hunts. He hasn't brought them all the way in, and now going, of course, up to the fortress age, and China is a bit of a powerhouse in the fortress age. They are rather strong there. They do quite well there. So we'll see how this turns out for him. Of course, that 700 coin he shipped going to help him get up to the fortress age, and now he just needs to collect the food to do so. We'll switch over to, of course, KönigErik. His second shipment was 4 settlers, as I said, being, you know, quite economic focused here. Now sending 700 coin, which indicates 2 things, or one of 2 things, should I say. But before we discuss that, of course, you know, having this semi-fast fortress, being a bit aggressive, though not managing to do much economic damage, but then again, these units, once he gets to the fortress age, will give him a nice mass, of course, you can upgrade them. Losing lots of settlers here, this isn't good at all. Yeah, so that's 700 coin from KönigErik. With that coin, he can either go up to the Fortress Age, which I now find quite unlikely since of course he's now pushing. So instead, with that coin, might use his stable to train some Hussar, which of course are much more coin-intensive unit than Musketeers. Musketeers being predominantly food, whilst Hussar is the same, it is also predominantly food unit, 120 food, 80 coin. They are much more expensive in the coin department, and that coin will help him defend and of course make him much more able to kind of train them and then push out and be aggressive here. Definitely containing him here. You know, he's got control of both of these hunts. This you know, pushing out a little bit later once that kind of economy comes to fruition. We saw, of course, the 4 settlers and also, you know, those market upgrades. Not doing any early aggression, but, you know, coming out a little bit later. snsjack losing some settlers here. This doesn't look so good. We'll switch over to him, and I think he will be okay once he gets up to the Fortress Age. Of course, has a nice army to kind of defend himself with, though doesn't have the doesn't have the resources to send the Minutemen and irregular type units sorry, which are, you know, sorry, irregular and sentries, which are Minutemen type units. That's what I was trying to say here. But here he's trying to use the crossbowmen, or should I say Chocanu, to do some hit and run style micro. Of course, Chocanu do, I think, outrange musketeers, so they can hit and run quite nicely. But losing a few Chocanu since he was in range of the musketeers there, and of course pulling his pikemen back in front of the Chocanu each and every time cavalry arrive. There are no cavalry left, though we do see 5 more being added in, kind of arriving, and those are really what do a lot of damage to Chocanu. Chocanu will be weak to cavalry, and those pikemen are needed to defend. But of course, each time he puts the pikemen, you know, at the front here, they'll take some shots, and he doesn't want to do that. Of course, you want to keep the pikemen at the back where they can be more easily defended. Here we see the Chinese player. Of course, he's going up with the Confucius Academy, which will grant him a flying crow. Well, not a flying crow, so to speak. It'll just train one every now and again. It's kind of like a falconet in the sense that it is an artillery unit that does good damage against infantry, but at the same time is very different. Of course, it's I can't actually remember if it's better against buildings or worse against buildings than a falconet. But you know, here losing a lot of units, and if he could call his Minutemen, I don't think this would be such an issue. But of course, getting up to the Fortress Age, almost has that shipment ready. I mean, just sent 700 wood just now, since he will need a few more villages to support his Fortress Age army. But I don't think this is going to go the way he wanted it. Of course, if that army was still safe, and you know, perhaps if he'd gotten the French player to start sieging down that TC, calling the game. I was not expecting it to end there. Of course, has a shipment ready, and then when he gets up to the next age, could send something like 10 arquebusiers, and you know, those are essentially skirmishers, but they would go, you know, that would have helped him out a lot. But since I guess he doesn't have any pikemen to protect them with, those cavalry bring them down very quickly, and I thought honestly he'd be alright once he got to the Fortress Age. It's just, wow, just being overpowered by the French here, and KönigErik taking the win, the first win, of course, on Great Plains. Thank you very much for watching. The next game will be on Saguenay, and I will see you next time.